Welcome to the Psychic Soul Healer channel. My name is Laura, and I'm going to do a general message for whoever lands on this video. Now, I want to just say thank you for subscribing to the channel. We made it to over 10,000 subscribers. So I want to thank all the new subscribers to this channel. I also want to invite you to check out my subscriptions for those of you that are looking for shadow healing. Now, shadow healing, it's a process. There's inner healing, there's inner child healing, then there's shadow work, and then there's the reparenting part. And then there's also the healing modalities that help you to actually do the work. Because healing the shadow part of self is the parts of self that we have detached from, the parts of self that we suppress, the parts of ourselves that we reject. And though we've rejected them and suppressed them, the energy is still very much there and is dictating the life that we wind up manifesting for ourselves, consciously or unconsciously. And most of the time, our shadows are unconscious. So today I'm going to do again a general message for anyone that lands on this video. Know that energy is fluid, so roles could be reversed. Know that you have to flip it, switch it, twist it. Just interpret the message as it best resonates for you. Now, I wanted to just say that because tonight's title is going to be how like you and your person, whoever you're here for, what does that person truly feel about you? But really, also, what are the past wounds that you both incarnated with? Because again, if it's a past life soulmate, it's a person that actually you remember on an energetic level way before you know them. And there's a sense of comfortability. The person feels again like home. So what I'm saying is feels. There's a very strong ESP connection, and that's through the heart and mind, which transcends all time and space. So past life partners of any type have this very strong spiritual bond. And the reason why is because they've come into in each other's lives again in this life to learn. So we learn through our karmic experiences. So tonight we are going to see what the past life connection was. And the reason why, because again, you're meeting this person in this life and there's a soul connection and you know this person from a past life, you're bringing in the wounds, the samskaras, the spiritual blocks. Again, those parts of yourself that you've detached from, that energy you're bringing into this life. So understanding what the karmic connection was in a past life, like who this person was to you. Most of the time, they were a soul mate. They could be a twin flame. It could be a karmic mate. And knowing that through, again, the type of life that we're born into, what our profession was, what the environment was, will tell us what created the wounds, will give us an idea. And then we're going to look at the inner child wounds, because when we are born into families, we're born into families that are going to, again, reintroduce the same karmic lesson that we needed to learn and that we didn't learn. And it's all for your evolution. So when you say, why was I born into this family? The reason why was because your soul wanted to learn those particular lessons. And we're all down here to learn that we're not separate from God, which is unconditional love. And we do so through being born into certain families, certain environments, having certain people come into our life that are going to teach us. So we have to understand now what's the inner child? What and the inner child is going to then tell us what the shadow aspect is from you and your person. This allows us to really know what we're dealing with, not just the person, but ourselves. What do we need to heal? The shadow, and then the archetype again, and then the triggers. Because when we have a wound, again, whether it's conscious or unconscious, we get triggered. And we get triggered because something in the environment is awakening a part of ourself that we've detached from, a part of our consciousness that we don't see. So again, we all wear masks in the parts of ourselves. And so again, the trigger allows us to know what the actual behaviorism is. Again, because when we have a trigger, what's the behaviorism? How do we get in our own way? What happens? Are we dealing with someone that sabotages themselves? Oh, do we sabotage ourselves? What actually happens? And then I always like to look at the hidden truth, because again, we all have that ego part of self, the dust part of self, that wants to know, well, does this person really care, even if they're fucked up per se? We all want to know, does this person care, even if you know that you can't be with this person because the person's imbalanced. There's a sense of healing there when we realize that unconditional love a lot of times looks messy, looks sloppy, it's full of hurt, unfortunately. It's because you're like, I still love this person. I wish I didn't love this person. Does this person love me even though it looks like this? Because then at least we could say that it's a soul relationship that taught us something about ourselves. So it was still a divine connection, just maybe not the type of divine connection that we were hoping for, which would be a soulmate twin flame. But then we always need to look at our own healing. So then the last cards that I pull are again about your healing, the healing that you need to bring in for yourself, and the actual shadow journaling work that you would need to do to heal the situation. Hey, Wendy. So I just wanted to put that out there before I actually jumped into a reading, because you're going to say, what the hell is going on here? But there is a system, again, to doing shadow work. We have the emotion is the gateway to spiritual healing and the trigger. So we have to always look at that. Hey, Suzanne. So we're going to look and at what is the connection? What was the spiritual connection that you and your person have from the past life? So assuming that you were married in a past life, what was the circumstances? So that's going to help us look at the wound. Oh, 2 actually came out. And so I feel like this was 2 past lives. So this is a really strong connection that you have with this person. And this is Atlantis. And ironically, look at this, male and female. So I'm seeing like in a past life, it's like, so it said, remember 2 cards came out, which I was only supposed to pull 1 card, but Spirit was saying, no, you know this person from more than 1 lifetime. And part of it is really a spiritual, when we're looking at Atlantis. Atlantis is like, again, a magical time, very spiritual time. So that, again, speaking about a very strong spiritual connection. And I believe past life, maybe you were the male and now you are the female in this life, and vice versa. So you're really learning the spiritual lesson through different perceptions. So maybe seeing things through a very feminine perspective, maybe seeing things through so you could be connected to someone that they tend to look at things from a very logical perspective, and you look at things from a very emotional perception, which is really irritating. Because if your language is, well, I feel, It's you want to be able to, and the person is a spiritual connection that you can feel the soul, you can, there's soul recognition, but then they're not going to show you feelings and emotions. We can, like, and they're going to express themselves mentally. We can see how that may be a trigger for us, and a trigger mainly because our perception, not because it's wrong. Remember, not all the time do we get triggered because someone's being malicious. Sometimes the person's just not aware. So, and you being very emotional would might trigger this person. Usually, like people that have parents that were really emotional, tend to, then get a partner that's very emotional because they need to learn. And so a lot of times if a person says, well, I was born into this family where my parent need was so emotional and I had to pay so much attention, and I'm a little resentful for that because I feel like I missed out on opportunities. I felt like I had to be the parent. I feel like you weren't, and that's actually the energy that I'm feeling. I'm feeling like my parent was too emotional that I had to be the parent. So I don't really like to actually deal with my emotions. And I also was taught not to like feel my emotions, to be like a man. A lot of times people were taught, be a big boy. Don't show your feelings. Don't be a big girl. Don't cry. Whatever again it taught this person, but you're dealing with two different ways of dealing with the world, is what I'm trying to get at. And that is very triggering. So that's what that tells me. And it's also very going to be a very strong spiritual connection if we've already lived 2 lifetimes with this person. So we're going to look at your inner child wound and your person's inner child wound. So the families that you were born into. Now, it's not uncommon to like be born into families that taught the same spiritual lessons, right? Again, past life, learning the lesson. We don't know what the lesson is yet. We'll know from the shadow, but we're going to look and see what the inner child. Okay, rage. So there's a lot of anger there. You see, Catherine. That's her name, and as you can see, she's really angry. So I feel as if I don't really even feel that that's you. I feel like you're dealing with a person that has a lot of suppressed rage. And so again, if I was not allowed to express my feelings, I'm not allowed to show my emotions because I process everything very logically because I was taught again to be very logical. Well, then I'm going to continually be triggered. Right, I'm sure. Like, I mean, Suzanne, like, what that's like. It's like both parties actually get full of rage because let me tell you something. If you're with a person that can't express themselves, they can't tell you how they feel, they can't tell you what they need. So there's a sense that they expect you to be able to mind read them, especially if there's like a very strong soul relationship. There's also a sense of what they perceive love is, and which means how you should act and really what reality is. Because this person can't express themselves because they weren't taught not to really show their feelings. And you're someone that's like, well, I want to talk things out. I think it's healthy to talk things out. So, and if the person is not communicating, we could see how that could create a lot of rage with inside of you. But we're really feeling like this person that you're dealing with, the person that you're connected to is again full of rage. And so maybe you had a parent, again, that dealt with everything angrily. And again, because they're full of rage. So again, we wind up living the same experiences until we learn how to deal with that particular behaviorism. And so it's not through dummying down our character. It's easy to dummy down with a person that's full of rage, though. it's easy to always give in because we don't want to deal with it. But that's a way of emotionally manipulating. So this person doesn't express their feelings because they can't. So they're going to emotionally manipulate, which is again gaslighting. So we can see, let's see what your inner child wound is. So this person, again, that you were connected to was taught to communicate this way, which is really not fair on every level, because it's not fair to the person that they're with, because it's always keeping that person on edge. Because what am I going to say that's going to piss you off today? So again, dealing with a parent that might have been like that. So we're getting the karmic lesson again through a relationship, through the behaviorism. So again, what is your wound? What is your inner child wound? Protection, like feeling like you needed protection, feeling not safe. So this person, again, doesn't make you feel safe. So you recreated the same environment that you pretty much grew up in, not purposely, again, unconsciously, because you needed to learn a spiritual lesson. It's again, so part of this, if the person is rage, that's still a root chakra imbalance. And they have rage because they don't really, again, know who they are. They're perceiving everything from a distorted perception, which is usually lack and limitation. And so they don't really know who they are, again, which creates nervousness. And when people are nervous for long periods of time, they get angry. They like to blame other people. And you, again, root chakra imbalance, where you didn't feel safe. You grew up not feeling safe. So both parties don't really feel strong within themselves. Now, again, that's very easy for this to happen today, especially if we grew up in an environment with parents that didn't make us kind of feel safe. And it again could be emotionally safe. I didn't feel comfortable enough to open up, which is like everybody. So understand, it's not a blame game. We just have to understand what is the shadow, how is that replaying out, what is the spiritual lesson, so we can see again they're both parties need to again heal the root chakra. But unfortunately, if the root chakra is off, every single chakra is off. When we're talking about feeling connected to the physical body, knowing who we are, feeling safe. Protection doesn't come from creating a strong environment. It comes from being strong within ourselves. And we know it's a root chakra imbalance because, again, when we feel like we need protection, our nervous system goes into fight, flight, or freeze. That root chakra is associated with all physical elements, not just of the physical body, but the physical world. The physical body, we're talking nervous system, we're talking endocrine system, we're talking skeleton system, everything that creates support. When we feel supported, we feel safe. This person doesn't make you feel supported because they, again, are emotionally not capable, because they are not allowed, they were taught not to be vulnerable, pretty much. So let's look at the shadow. The shadow part of them. You're like, why the hell do I want to deal with this? Because understand, if you don't deal with it, you get it again in a different person, because what you resist persists. You're a magnet of who and what comes into your life. When you have a wound, it will continue to play out as a karmic theme. And that karmic theme would be, I don't feel safe. I don't feel safe. Where really, again, safety doesn't come from outside of you. So let's take a look at the shadow, so we can actually dig out this wound. All right, a wound. Let's see what they are. Doubt. So again, they're full of doubt. They don't trust in themselves. So again, rage, which again, there's only two energies, love and fear. So really, they have a lot of fear because, again, they don't know who they are. Because if we're not allowed to really express who we are, then we're not really allowed to fully feel. And so if this person is sensitive, which I feel like they are, but even if they weren't, the way that we process information a lot of times is to feel. So there's a lot of detachment going on here. And so detachment creates disassociation. But in order to do that, there's usually addictions because a person can't stay in a place of detachment, that without feeling good. It's still a root chakra imbalance. We feel tired, we feel lethargic. Why? Because the endocrine gland associated with the root chakra is the adrenals, fight, flight, or freeze. So again, this person's in fight, flight, or freeze, which is making you be, again, you're a magnet of who and what comes into your life. So again, the wound is it's making you not feel safe. So it's creating that physical change within your body. So again, but it's all because they don't know who they are, and they don't know who they are because they're not allowed to really feel fully, or at one point they weren't. So they don't really know who they are. So they doubt everything, because if we don't know who we are, then we're not really fully committed anywhere. And so, but we may come across as arrogant. We may come across as, again, because we're wearing a mask, but the real, wound is the fact that we doubt. So let's look again, criticism. So again, and so for your wound, it's criticism. So being with someone that doubts themselves, how they dealt with you is they constantly criticize. So if you would say, oh, I want to talk about what's happening here, I need to talk about the relationship, they would, again, make it like there was something wrong with you, twist it around, criticize you, make you feel bad, which I believe that was the environment that you grew up in. So again, the wound was not feeling safe, like feeling like you need protection. When we, again, feel like we need protection, is because we are not strong within ourselves, because this is happening long after you've moved out of your home. So, or at an age where you should feel safe within yourself. Understand, we're taught not to feel safe within ourselves. We're taught to doubt ourselves. And so someone criticized your person, so they doubt themselves. So what they do is they project that wound onto you, making you actually doubt yourself, because again, they again were criticized. They don't feel good about themselves. They don't know who they are, because number one, they were taught not to really feel, and number two, they everything that they did or wanted to do, or just expressing who they were criticized. So again, not both parties not feeling good about like who they are from a very young age. So that's what the child, again, the inner child wounds reflected the shadow. So then we look at the archetype. I'm just going to look at the archetype for your person. Addict. Didn't I say that? I said if they, again, wind up, being detached for long periods of time, we can't stay that way. We can't stay detached from ourselves. It doesn't feel good. We don't actually even are conscious of it. We just feel the effects of a root chakra imbalance, and it's like our brain doesn't shut off. We feel very lethargic and tired. We feel detached. We feel like we're there, but we're not. It's very difficult to be present. There's a sense of, again, not really having direction, not knowing where we are, or who we are, especially if we're continuously doubting ourselves because we were criticized or told that we needed to be a certain way. So understand, we're pretty much told not to like ourselves. So your person was taught not to like themselves. And I feel like that also happened to you, but this person again, suffers from addictive behavior because of it. Because addictive behavior kind of raises the energy, right? Like if every time I feel bad, I take a drag out of a cigarette, I'm conditioning myself. If every time I don't feel good, I eat something to subconsciously suppress that emotion, it's telling the brain, I release serotonin. It makes me feel better. I release the feel good, the dopamine, the feel good um, hormones. So unconsciously, I'm conditioning myself because I don't feel good about myself. And this an addict could be womanize. It could be drink too much. It could be anything. And so you may say, well, I also have addictive behavior. And so remember, like goes to like. So maybe you're not drinking so much, but maybe you're over shopping, right? Again, usually there's addictive behavior because we don't feel good. If I don't feel good about myself, I don't feel good. I want to ground. It's a way subconsciously we try to ground and raise our energy level. So, whoop, all right. And for you, it's again martyr. So it's again, maybe at one time you were taught to give up your happiness. Is again for other people. So a lot of times it's not uncommon if we grew up in a home where someone was full of rage and they had addictive behavior, that we were taught to not have a voice, to not have wants, to not have needs, to not take a turn, because we didn't want to disrupt the people in the environment. So we would be the wounded healer. So here you are in a situation that is mirroring the same exact situation that you pretty much grew up in, and this person is also stuck in that consciousness, but they're kind of keeping themselves there. So it's a way that when a person doesn't believe that they are worthy of love, and if I doubt who I am and I don't like who I am, well, and I was taught to not be who I am, then I don't like who I am because I'm always trying to emulate somebody else. I'm trying, and you can't embody somebody else. You can't copy someone else and have it be authentic. It's just impossible. You get that weird energy. Is it like, because there's only one you. So you have to find truly who you are. And sometimes that means going against the grain. So your person hasn't found that yet. And so in this situation, like I said, like if you were to be with this person, and at one time I believe that you were, obviously, that's the role that you would be expected to play, which is like, I don't really have needs. I have to think about your needs, Right. See, I mean, it's always the people that are supposed to be on that hear the message. So let's look at the triggers. Trauma. Literally. So obviously, again, I grew up in that environment. I have trauma, and that trauma I need to integrate. I have unresolved trauma. So, and again, this person has unresolved trauma and they took it out on you, and you have unresolved trauma. But again, we knew that they had unresolved trauma. It's again, you're a mirror of what comes into your life. So the triggers are gonna pretty much be the same. The wounds are going to be the same. They're mirrored out differently through different behaviorisms, but we understand what the shadow is. We understand why that is. Okay. And then X factor. I feel like there is still an emotional connection between you and your ex. This triggers me. So it's not so much, that's going to be for some of you guys. And I just feel like if a person is disconnected, where they're not giving you anything, I don't really feel like this person was connected to anyone. However, they will make it like they were closer to somebody else to make you believe that the problem's you, because they, again, are not capable of emotionally really opening up, right? If a person can't really emotionally open up and you know that they were in a relationship with other people, then you're going to be like, well, maybe it was me. It was not you. I believe that this is who this person is. And then I'm going to pull one more because I believe that that was only for some of you. And past. I had a hard time letting go of the past and the fears associated with it. So they manifested in chaos relationships. That's more like it. Again, so, but again, the trauma took it out on you, and the past, again, you holding on to the same energy of the past and not really integrating it. And so again, like, could we perceive that person is emotionally giving someone else? Well, if we don't feel good about ourselves and this person is making us believe that it's us, they can kind of trick us into believing that they care more about someone from the past, just so that, and that's not uncommon for somebody that has shadows where they're not able to express themselves, because their way is to get you to express yourself so they emotionally feel safe. So again, I don't really like that because that's, again, manipulative. So let's look at the wounds, and then I am going to look at the hidden truths because I just want to know, like, again, it is important, but we'll see how did their triggers play out, because again, dramatic, over the top behavior, creating drama for control. See, like, again, when people don't know how to express themselves and they don't feel good about themselves and they don't know how to, articulate what they really need, which is express themselves, they do act very dramatic. And that's why, again, I feel like this person that you were connected to would always make you feel like, that they had other options. Whether they did or not, it was, again, there was no better choice. It was mainly, I want to create drama. I need to create drama because I can't express myself. I can't ask for what I need. So, and one more. Again, attached. Don't commit too soon. Okay, so again, you could be somebody that's like, you didn't get the emotional needs that because of a parent that was, again, had addictive behavior. And again, you could be like emotionally, a little bit emotionally needy, and or again, get attached too soon because emotionally you're not giving yourself what you need. So you have to be careful in that aspect, because again, how do codependency relationships manifest? They manifest because one person has addictive behavior and the other person is like usually the enabler. Again, it's usually a narcissistic and an empathic relationship. That's what it looks like. And so again, it's not uncommon if we grew up in that environment to get attached to someone that, again, is not going to emotionally give us what we need. So again, just because a person can't emotionally express themselves, I want to still look at the hidden truth because that's important to me. Like I said, is it really important? Spirit says, no, it's not really important, but it's important to our ego. We kind of want to know down deep inside, like, even if this person is imbalanced, like, what did they feel? Like, what did they feel? Like, there is satisfaction in it, if one way or the other. If they cared, it's like, okay, they cared, they just, or if they didn't care, then we can find, like, really let it go a lot easier, knowing what a person's really true intention was. So again, their intention, we both knew, I am not the one for you. So I believe that this person was a little bit cocky, and like believed that they, again, that knew that they weren't really treating you well. That's what that tells me. Now, does that mean, I feel like, again, this person's very selfish. I'm not going to lie. I feel like They were attracted to you. They felt a connection to you. Again, their soul recognition. This person was supposed to come into your life. However, you being an emotional person and needing to talk and needing again to be able to, like, the person needed to like give you some sort of reassurance without making you feel bad about it. And being that you were asking for it, they were like, I'm not the one for you because you're continually making me do things that I don't really want to do. Which, so I don't like this person because it's like they're very selfish. Because relationships are not just one sided. Okay, I wish I could take back my words. So I think maybe you feel that way. Again, like you're both, but like again, or sometimes it's not uncommon for a person, you know what I'm really feeling? I feel like that this person down deep inside truly does have feelings, but their ego is so big that they're like, you know, that I'm not the one for you. But if they really think about it, which is not uncommon with the shadow part of self is that ego. So the ego never wants to see us from a bad light. So we will try to find things that are wrong. We will try to find things that, and that's really what I feel like. I feel like this person, the hidden truth is that they will never admit that they're wrong. But down deep inside, they wish that they could take back a lot of things that they did so that they could still have you in their life, still on their terms because they're selfish. But in their mind, they're like, "Oh, I really did it this time. Like if I, you know, didn't have to come back and really apologize, then it would be easier." This is what I feel like. This person does not want to do the work. This is what this is telling me. They don't want to do that, which is addictive behavior. This person does not want to do the work. It's like, and because it's like down deep inside, they know, but it would be like then, almost like they're taking like a back seat to you because they have to become subservient, and that's sad. Okay, so let's look and just see what the healing is, and we are going to close out. Let's just look and see what the healing is. Okay, inferiority. So again, this person feels like they are inferior, obviously, and to the really healing is whatever this person doubts themselves because they don't know who they are, which we know that. So everything is again going to make them feel inferior. So what they do is they wear a mask of self-righteousness, again, where they don't want to apologize, they don't want to do anything that's going to make them seem vulnerable, because again, they don't want to express their feelings and emotions. They want to stay in that addictive behavior, which is all about the ego. So they would need to heal that. And for you, what would you need to do in order to stop attracting this type of person? Again, intuition. Like, again, I feel like you always know, like, when a person is off, like there's a red flag, and it might not be the first second that you know this person, but they pretty much, people show you who they are when they get comfortable with you. And I feel like, being that you had this martyr type energy and grew up in that type of environment, I feel like you're really easygoing, which makes this person feel again like they can have this personality with you, that almost like bully you again, and because they're full of rage, they're full of anger. So again, they could feel that you're, intimidated, and again, that you could get attached easily, which means that you give a lot. So when the first sign that this person's off, you need to listen. Or anybody's off, you need to listen and not talk yourself out of it, because I feel like this person showed you who they are right from the beginning. But and that might have been like, well, they disguise themselves as broken. They came in broken. They came in not being able to give me 100%, because maybe again they ended a relationship, maybe because they lost a job, maybe because they had a reason. So again, the red flags, like and the real healing that you need to do. Again, what is the shadow work? What would be the shadow work? Which is approval. Stop looking for approval, which is, again, when we didn't get the love that we needed and we feel like we need to be the martyr, we're so busy looking at ourselves. We're not looking, at how we're being treated. So stop looking for approval from people that can't approve. They can't even improve their own life, is what I'm getting at. Like, this is, again, knowing that you're loved, because this is when this card says we all have basic human needs to feel accepted and loved. Securing approval from others is just that, a request for acceptance or love. But the pursuit of either should never disconnect us from our authentic selves. This person is asking you, and again, to be a martyr, to not care about your needs. And that's what I said earlier. So this is what this journaling card is saying, is like, any person that asks you to ignore what your needs are, like, that's a no. And so what they say is to grow, look around your room and home. What things no longer feel like you? Start a box of those things while you work through what you want to let go of. And then, you want to, what is this? It says start a box of those, donate it. So anything that you don't want that's in your house that you can really let go of, they're saying donate it. It's, again, because it's almost like getting the old energy off. It says, if you're holding on to something for any other reason, it may be time to let it go. Out of guilt, even if you don't like it, someone will get upset if you get rid of it. It's, again, letting go of certain things. Write in a journal. So you want to write in a journal to gain approval, not to gain approval of yourself, like what you approve of for yourself. And you want to release yourselves from the prison of approval seeking. Like, we need validation that can only come from within. In moments of doubt, repeat this to yourself or come up with something that feels right for you. So, which the mantra would be, my voice and needs matter. I am worthy. I know I can do what is right for me. And I'm going to add to this. I always feel as if we didn't get the love that we needed, that it's to, like, it means that our root chakra, again, is out of balance. So we want to, again, do things that are going to connect us to other people that reflect back a different version of our perception of who this person made us believe that we are on some level. Because that's what happens when you're in a relationship with someone that is toxic. And unfortunately, anyone that has addictive behavior, any person that suppresses their emotions, that isn't going to validate you, is going to ask you to dim your light and ignore your own needs, is not someone that you want to be with. That is extremely selfish. It's extremely selfish because it winds up being a relationship that's based on passion alone, because you're not building an emotional connection. And then, that passion doesn't last forever. But, it's like you're the ice cream flavor of the month. I mean, how long can you, like, see the same person over and over and over and over and over again if it's just based on that. So it's they're not they don't want to build anything. And here it is, they're like, oh, but I can feel that you would get attached to me, and you would get attached to them. So it's and the whole problem with it is the whole not feeling protected. And protected here is like, I don't really feel supported. I don't really feel like I can trust this person because they're not making me feel like, again, that my needs matter. And when a person makes you feel that way, regardless of whether they're going to leave or not, it means that emotionally they've checked out, and no one wants to be with a person that is emotionally checked out and is all caught up in their addictive behavior, because over time they're going to be abusive. It's again, which is what it said here. They were full of rage. So again, it's about breaking those karmic patterns. And so here it was all about, making yourself strong. Again, that's really where your protection comes from, and not looking for validation from anyone in your environment. And that includes the person that you do have but special feelings for. If anything, especially those people that you consider to be that special someone, you really need for them to see who you truly are. This way they have an opportunity to say, I don't want to be with you, if that's not the personality that they jive with. Otherwise, you're doing the same thing that they're doing. And why I say that is, if I'm trying to get approval from my environment, that means I'm going to be extra observant about what you care about, which is what this person was doing. They were like deliberately not giving you stuff so that the attention was all on them. And if you didn't love yourself enough, you wouldn't notice that. And being that you grew up in that environment where you didn't get enough, it wouldn't be uncommon. So in order for you to break that chain, it's, I'm not looking for approval. I know what you're doing. You're asking me to like abandon who I am. And I'm going to break this karma, and I'm going to break it by, again, giving myself that love. And so, I mean, it's a lot easier said than done when you are like in a relationship with someone that you really head over heels for. And unfortunately, those past life relationships, they're full of passion. There's a reason why, there's soul recognition. But a lot of times we have to, do a head over heart decision, because the gut is telling us that this person isn't good right from the beginning. And that's what this said, that there were signs in the beginning. So you can't really like look away, knowing that you're the type of person to give emotionally a lot too. You don't want to go in there and say, well, let's see what happens, because you'll get attached. That's who you are. So to say you're going to kind of give energy to someone and not get attached, that's just not you. And that's what this person knew too. So that's why it wasn't fair. And I'm going to leave that there. And I thank you guys for being on, and I will see you guys again tomorrow. I'm going to do a few videos for some zodiacs like that are going to be pre-recorded. I'm going to try and work on some of those tonight. I had to work a party the other day, and been busy with clients and other things, and then my husband's health, and just a lot going on right now. So I need to catch up on those videos. So again, thanks for joining, and I will talk to you guys soon. Oh, I don't know if I picked the card of the day. But I'm gonna put it anyway, obscurity. So you look anywhere in your life this week and see where do you feel that there's not enough. And again, put your energy there. And you can put the word obscurity in your comment bar if you want to win a free reading with me. I will choose by the end of the week. And you'll know if I chose you if I wrote the word winner underneath. I'll talk to you all soon. Bye.